I've always been curious. I remember one time I was riding from the to the airport in Zurich, Switzerland to go home, and one of our young production assistants was with me. We're riding along the taxi cab, and after a while he said, "Why are you doing that?" And I said, why am I doing what? He said, well, every time we go past a side street, he said, you're giving it this. And I thought, well, that's what it's about, looking down all the side streets, you know? I just want to see what's there.
There's a parallel with the Walter Cronkites and Eric Severides, people in the 70s that had, or 60s and 70s, that had some resonance with the greater public as well, and were able to bring, Jim McKay was able to bring sport and give it a meaning within the context, the cultural context of what was happening in the world at that time, and obviously the highlight of that was the Munich games. But talk about what he's done for Maryland racing in general. I mean, he's a Maryland bred himself.
And he helped start the Maryland Million. He started the Maryland Million, which was an important, fixture there. And see, all the great racing figures come from a local context. They come from a place where they really pay their dues, establish themselves, and become trusted. Because the racing industry, as you know, is very. It can be very exclusive insofar, they don't just welcome outsiders who walk right in from off the street and say they want to be reporters or, journalists. And so McKay had these credentials, he had this legitimacy, and he was a very likable guy. And like I said, I'm remembering 1968, the way he called the 1,500 meter, in which a guy called Bill Toomey won the decathlon, and he related Bill Toomey, or he put him in the footsteps of all the other great decathlon athletes, particularly American ones, Rafer Johnson and others. And McKay would always do the same thing with racing. He would remind viewers of the lineage, that is, where these horses came from, how far back, in terms of their breeding, and that it was a sense of pageantry, and there was a mystique about it, almost a mysticism about it, which he conveyed very vividly, and yet very, very plausily, and very believably for viewers.
What I think, I guess, in the end, McKay was able to show that that racing was truly an American treasure, and he was able to convey that to a very wide audience. So thank you very much, Jim.